And then I got into kettlebells a bit. I think I had the first kettlebell in Australia, which I bought from this guy in Tasmania before even Rick was starting up his one.
What was his name? Was that was Paul Fowler, Paul Tucker? Paul Tucker,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
Paul
He had a
Tucker,
foundry in Tasmania.
he's still going in
See?
he's still going in kettlebell sport. Still around. Yep. Yeah, that's a man that started niche, it's super niche.
Yep. Yeah.
I guess because you had kettlebells before, at least a year, and I was.
Yeah, because I had two 24s, and then eventually I got a couple more. I think I might have got a 48 or something from Rick at whatever his one was called, Australian Kettlebells in Melbourne. And then they eventually just got everywhere. But at one stage, I was thinking of going over to the States and doing the RKC certification.
Yeah.
That would have been, I don't know, 2007. And then I just couldn't justify the price. But I couldn't afford it back then, like 4 kids and that sort of thing. But I couldn't quite get the snatch numbers. I wanted to do it at home. So I think there was a guy, Don Stevenson in Sydney, that was the first guy who was certified in Australia to do it, and he did it a year or so after that. And then it got mad and just went super popular.
Yeah, you had Andrew Reid in Melbourne, who ended up being an RKC instructor as well these days. I think he was. They were the first two, and then that Don guy, Lee, over here in Perth. Yeah, then there was every man and his dog kettlebell instructor, or teaching it, or a course on how to, including me. I jumped in on that too. I ended up doing the SFG 13 with Pavel because he came to Perth, and then it made it. Yeah, then that. So I did 3 days over in. Oh, there's a park in North Perth, just off Fitzgerald Street. That we had that for 3 days. That was horrible because day one was end of November. Killed me. So I did that. That was really fun. And hanging.
He's such a smart guy because he was the guy that introduced Shaco to Western powerlifting and translated his first articles. And then I wish he had written more or translated more powerlifting books, because his powerlifting articles that he wrote Beyond Bodybuilding and then Power to the People Pro were just fantastic. And then I did a few of the programs in those of the old school Russian ones.
Because they were all they were all based off Prilipin's chart. They were all based off the same image. And now you had Pavel, Shaco, and Basovs, and a few others. And the Basovs were the head Russian coaches for years. They all went to the same school. They all had the same lecturers. They all heard the same information. And so all three of them have just got slight variations on the same theme, which I loved. And so that way you can kind of pick and choose between Pavel stuff, Shaco stuff, depending on how you feel. Knowing that full well it's all the same research and all works. And I remember them saying to us that they had a nickname for Shaco when it was like the Crusher or the Crippler or something like that. He just had a really extreme.
Nowadays, some of these coaches, especially the IPF ones, they're doing crazy volumes because they're getting these people so young, which is why the junior and sub-junior records are just taken off, because they're just throwing these guys into volume and just straight powerlifts young. I don't know how long they'll stay in it, but
yeah, that's the hard part, especially. But think about, when you're 18 or 19, like you're going to university or you got your first job, you're not working that hard. You have more free time, more time to your life. Concentrating on powerlifting between the ages of 18 and 21 just seems like a no-brainer nowadays, with the amount of the access to information, the access to good resources, good coaching, and good gyms. It's like, go hard. Of course we're going to see these crazy records from juniors now. What is that English guy? He's what, 20?
Nonso, 21, 22.